I have a piece of apple wood here. It was a trimming from a branch I cut into bowl blanks, and it's got an odd shape to it. I put it on a faceplate and I put a wedge in here to try to balance it out, and this is on a real bad wedge here. I'm going to get it mounted in here and try to flatten that bottom here, which will be the bottom, and it's on quite a wedge. And I'm going to just make an end grain turning of some sorts out of this. Not sure what it's going to end up being, but that's the plan. So we'll try to get a tenon on this. It's going to be probably quite a bit out of balance and slow turning. That's about 650, better than I expected. I'm going to switch to my 5/8 swept-back bowl gouge, and I'm going to start cutting up towards the other end. This is looking more interesting to me than what I expected. So actually I want to define this as a kind of like a flange instead of just blending up there. I want it to be a distinct change of shape there. I think that's as far as I'm going. I'll clean the center side of this flange with a negative rake scraper. It's not too bad. So I've flipped around in the chucks and it runs pretty true. But you can see how egg-shaped this outside of that is. First thing I need to do is make that flat. So running nice and true. Yeah. This is what's really going to look nice. You have all of that heartwood coming out here. It just kind of comes out where this branch was and still is. And that little piece of bark, before I get everything all swept up, I'm going to go through and see if I can find it. I'm ready to hollow this out. Just going to do a little bit out here to establish the shape that I want. And then I probably will drill down into this. It is end grain. It's not as hard as the Locust I've done, but it's still going to be harder than if it was flat grain. It's turning pretty good at about 1,000 RPMs. I have this set up to go ahead and drill the hole in. I'm going to probably drill it to within 3/4 of the bottom. Okay, I've got a nice hole in here. This should help hollowing this out. So let's see what we can get out of RPMs. Runs real good at 800. Now I turned a little pocket down in here to where I want the bottom to be, and it's about 1/2 inch. So now let's cut this away and blend it into the wall, which is about 1/4 right here. So I've got to make sure I don't get into here and take too much off. Alright. We are hollowed out. Have some blending right here. That's less than 1/4 right there. And I have that ridge to take out. I'll just use this negative rake scraper to do this. Okay, feels good. It's time to sand. I want to get all the sawdust picked up, but I'll be back when it's time to sand. I took this bowl out to CA glue the edge of the bark because it was a little soft, and I didn't get it right back in the chuck. It was a few days. I noticed when I put it back in, I'm not running real true, but I fortunately had already sanded it to 150 grit, and the inside I had finished sanding. So now I'll just sand the rest of this with a sheet of paper. I have a 220 here, and I'll do a 500, and I'm going to go ahead and put a finish on here, and I'm pretty certain I'm going to use wipe-on poly. I'll just do this for 5 or 10 minutes. I'll come back when it's ready to wipe some of my wipe-on poly mix that I make. So let's see how this looks, and it is going to soak it up. This is the first of many coats. I will be back when it's done. Okay, I've got one of my little blocks mounted in the chuck. Put some non-slip padded material in there. Bring up the tailstock, use the center that I started with. A little pressure on it. See how it spins. It actually looks pretty good. Get my face shield. Start cutting this off. I like to examine this, make sure it's still plenty strong. Okay, I switched to a 3/8 spindle gouge. I've slowed it down to around 200. I'm going to go ahead and see about cutting the rest of this little nub off in the lathe. I'll tell you real soon whether I chicken out or not. Got to keep it pressed against the base. Left hand is on the stop button. Well, I learned this trick from watching Phil. Phil's really good at it. And like Phil says, when that nub stops turning, you're done. Getting close. Okay. Let's sand this little nub off there and we have it. Well, here's the finished end grain apple bowl that I just did. It has a very unusual rim to it. 7 inches across this way and it's 7.5 inches across that way. It's 4.5 inches tall and the base is 3 5/8. Ends up kind of looking like a pear or maybe a camshaft. But it just has beautiful contrasting colors in there. That heartwood is just spectacular. This is the branch that was on it, and that's the other side of it, and you can still see a little piece of the branch left on there. Has that same beautiful heartwood on the outside. Right here, this caught my eye. It's bordered with a darker strip all the way around the heartwood on the outside and the inside. But this, the first thing I saw when I was looking at it, it looked like a wave out in the Pacific Ocean with little teeny white caps on it. I finished this with wipe-on poly, and I used my abrasive paste, and then I followed it with my polishing paste. And it came out really, really smooth. I used wipe-on poly on the bark, and it feels really nice. I'm sure glad I decided to make an end grain turning out of this. When you do an end grain turning on a piece like that, you get the heartwood all the way around it, and it sure did turn out nice. Very happy with it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I sure enjoyed making this turning. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And a special thanks to all my subscribers. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new to my channel and you feel so inclined, please consider subscribing. Thanks again, and until the next time, I'll see you later.